This is an official Tucson Tyranny Response Team documentation documenting a letter received by Internal Affairs Lieutenant D. Hopfer of the Office of Internal Affairs. The first sentence says, the Office of Internal Affairs received your complaint on December 16, 2010. The case was reviewed by Sergeant Collin. So that's two of them. This letter is to inform you that your complaint has been closed. A review of all the information available shows that nothing that has been alleged or described amounts to a violation of law. Well, excuse me, Internal Affairs. How can you guys do a thorough investigation without interviewing any witnesses? I was never called for a follow-up interview. I specifically reserved the right to add additional information and be interviewed. Your investigation, Internal Affairs, amounts to complete and total failure and lack of investigation. And the very looks like the very second sentence in here, after the letter is to inform you the complaint has been closed, the review of all information available shows nothing has been alleged or described amounts to a violation. Well, you didn't review all the information available, TPD, Internal Affairs. So quite clearly, you did a thorough, not a thorough investigation, a partial investigation. That sentence is tampered with. This is a public record, and it's misrepresented. So we're going to say now, I'm going to say it appears very strongly Sergeant Collin and Lieutenant Hopfer has tampered with this public record by misrepresenting facts. That's also obstructing a criminal investigation. You guys made the list. I'm calling the police auditor right now to see what they have to say about this. Here we go.
Internal Affairs, Sergeant Borboa.
Internal Affairs?
Yes.
Who is this?
Sergeant Borboa.
Okay. Hey, I have a question. When someone makes a Internal Affairs complaint, do you guys interview the witnesses?
The answer is most of the time. It depends what type of complaint it is.
I see.
You got a certain number or name so I can check on that for you?
Yes, sir, I do. I put in 5 Internal Affairs complaints. They're saying it's one complaint, and it was the number 10-0621. I specifically reserved the right in my complaint to add additional supplemental information and be interviewed. It appears
What's
that
your name, sir?
My name is Aaron Ray, and it appears that this letter is tampered with, or it might be a willful misrepresentation, and that might be obstructing the other criminal investigations I'm alleging, because they say that all the information available shows that nothing has been alleged or described amount to a violation of law. Well, all the information available has not been...
Say.
Pardon me?
The last paragraph in that letter, what does it say?
The last paragraph, that I may contact the police auditor for further assistance.
Have you done that, sir?
Well, when I called them a little while back, a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, they said to call over there. But, yes, I will be going through the independent police auditor, because it's my strong opinion that this letter is misrepresented, and I'm going to have to make complaint on these officers that co-conspired to shut down the case without further investigation. In fact, complete and total lack of and failure investigation, because it's beyond me how these guys get such a high pay rate, can do an investigation without actually investigating the people making the allegations and taking more statements and gathering more evidence from them. It's just ridiculous.
So your concern here today is you don't like the way the investigation was done?
Well, how can an investigation be an investigation if people aren't interviewed? I had some witnesses that was that was at the department when things happened. I have additional audio. I have additional statements. And how can it be a complete investigation when they say they review all available information when they haven't? Because I reserved the right to go down there and be interviewed. They didn't do it. They didn't review. That's tampered with right there in the report. That is misrepresented. That's obstructing. If they can't find anything wrong, it's because they didn't do a thorough investigation. And it looks like it's willfully misrepresented also. It never ends. So I don't know. I'm going to have an attorney, I guess, send you guys a follow-up letter. I've had it. And I'm going to do additional internal affairs complaints. But you just said in some situations that that they do interview the witnesses. Well, which situations is that? The ones that you guys can't win from the get-go? Or maybe I'm thinking of it opposite. I just don't understand what's going on here. How can they write false statements in a public record?
Well, it's on a case-by-case basis, and if the documentation is done prior to that, then it's all a result of that.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and...
You have the right to go to the independent auditor, though.
Well, you know, you guys respect our constitutional rights, right? It's in your policy, right?
I've worked many a nights.
Pardon?
I've walked down many dark alleys by myself respecting that. I do.
Okay, so if I wanted to make a citizen's arrest under ARS 133084, then you guys would have to honor that, respect that, and abide by it, right?
We do all the time, but the only thing is you got to make sure there's probable cause.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is. In the alternative, you guys can charge me with false reporting or something if you want, but then I'm going to have subpoena power, and everybody's getting interviewed, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
You know, I'm not trying to infringe on any of your rights that you have.
I know. I'm just aggravated.
Legally, and you don't get upset if something's not done right and you're held accountable. You just, like everybody's held accountable, you have to be able to prove that there's probable cause.
Well, why aren't the officers held accountable?
Well, that's your perspective, and the process is made to do that. Now, you have the process available to you, and the letter was sent allowing you a second chance to do so. So if you want to make another complaint here, I can on and look into that. But
I'm not going to make the complaint verbally right now. I'm going to put it in writing so I can detail more policies. You know, I detailed a lot of policies and code of conduct in my last paperwork, and it just seems like that stuff doesn't work anymore. You guys are supposed to follow your policies, right?
You know, that's all subject to everybody's interpretations. What we try to do is provide the public with the clearest, transparent investigation here, and of course, you know, we do the best we can.
Okay, well, I'm glad you just said that, because under Arizona Revised Statute 39-121, I'm making a verbal request for all the information, all the officers' recorded statements, and what their investigation
that
amounted
public
to.
records law, you could do that. There's a process to do that through our record section, and you can do that, or you can have it in writing.
Well, it doesn't have to be in writing. The public records law is very clear. That's why I just made it to you right now to see if you'll abide by the public records law.
I'll abide by it, but if you write down specifically what you want in a written response, we'll adhere to that public records request.
Well, I know you will, but do I have to put it in writing?
Well, you have to, because that way we're not going to have any discrepancy of what you told me and what you're requesting.
Okay, well, I'm going to do that because I'm going to need to review all the audio interviews that I was told is supposed to happen, because I strangely enough, I think they didn't do very much here. I mean, I never got re-interviewed. How can they do a thorough interview without taking additional information? It's just impossible. It's a possibility. It's impossible. So yeah, but they do sometimes interview witnesses, though, huh? And call people back in. But this time was not one of those times.
No, it doesn't appear that that'd be one of those times here.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call the independent police auditor, and this is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm reading the Tucson Police Department is committed to providing excellent service to the community. Well, how can partial investigations from Internal Affairs be?
Well, why don't you put those in writing, and we'll address them, and you get the correspondence back, because then it's a subject to your interpretation, and maybe it'll be clear if they're in writing.
Well, I interpret per what the statutes say, and per the statutory authorities, there's some problems going on here. Now, if I did what your officers did, I'd already be in the sin bin. So, there's some kind of double standard thing going on here, and, well, as one of the members of the public, I don't appreciate it. And again, these guys make a high salary. I don't understand how they can drop the ball.
Well, that's subject to interpretation, too, but you can respond in writing. That's how this first one got initiated. Well, it gets through the independent police auditor was the first case was initiated, correct?
This last time, what makes the independent auditor independent? Do they get city funding, or how does that work?
Well, they work through the city manager's office. They're independent of the police department. And
so all they do is forward internal affairs complaints to internal affairs?
No, they do much more. They review, they audit, they handle other inquiries as to the city's functions. So I wouldn't say no, that's not all they do.
So I could ask them to review this and tell them I want these questions answered, and they'll forward that back to you guys for some kind of a response?
Yeah, they'll forward it to us, and we'll get them the answers.
The answers. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call them up. And what's your name again?
Sergeant Borboa.
Borboa. I'm gonna
You
go
talked
ahead.
to Mr. Barton there last time, right?
Pardon me?
You did speak to a Mr. Barton there last time?
Yeah, I did. After I was advised to speak with Luana Perez, he wouldn't seem to let me through to talk to her. But yes, I did speak to that guy, I believe.
Yeah, he works for that office. He'll do the. He can take your concern on that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give him an opportunity. I think we need a citizens review board, though. The independent police auditor doesn't seem to be that independent if they're getting funding from the same city.
Well, that's something that has to be initiated on another way there. I can't help you with that one, but I can direct you to their office if you'd like.
Okay, well, I have the number here. I'm going to go ahead and call them up and see what they have to say. In fact, I'm going to need an appointment with them.
Alrighty.
Okay, thanks for your time there, sir. You have
You're
a good
welcome.
day and
Thank you
better
very much.
tomorrow.